The Brisbane Channel is keeping you up to date with another batch of updates to keep you in the loop with what's happening across Greater Brisbane. Let's start with some updates that affect all 5 LGAs. Firstly, and very briefly, house prices continue to rise, although at a slower rate. We still hold on to the title of second most expensive city in Australia to buy a home, with Sydney well and truly staying at number 1. Over the last year, dwelling prices have increased by 8.6% in Greater Brisbane, but the increase in March was only 0.4%. Here's the suburbs that have seen the greatest rise in home prices over the last year in Greater Brisbane. And rents have also continued to increase, but the rate at which they're increasing has also slowed. Over the last year, Brisbane rents rose by 2.9% for houses and 3.9% for units. The year before, the rise was 7.5% and 12.3%. Nationally, over the last 5 years, rents have increased by 38.4%, while wages have grown by just 15.4%. In the last week, the Queensland Government has announced that design and pre-construction work will begin on the Logan and Gold Coast Faster Rail project. This project is to fix a bottleneck in the rail line between Currabee and Beenleigh, where trains share a single track in each direction. This means that during peak periods, all stop Beenleigh trains need to be held to one side to allow Gold Coast Express trains to pass through. The project will address this problem by doubling the number of tracks to allow the free movement of both all stops and express trains. The project will also see station accessibility upgrades, remove 5 level crossings, improve park and ride facilities, and provide a new continuous active travel path connecting the stations along the 20-kilometre project corridor. Also announced this week, the state government are increasing fines for the commercial supply of illicit tobacco and illegal nicotine products. Individuals caught selling these products will be hit with an on-the-spot fine of $32,260, up from $3,226, and for corporations, the fine is $161,300, also 10 times the previous figure. In addition to these on-the-spot fines, court-ordered penalties of up to 2 years imprisonment and/or fines of up to $322,600 for individuals or $1.6 million for a corporation remain available. One update that was announced just too late for last week's update is that a new round of applications have opened for grants of up to $100,000 for Queensland live music venues. The financial support from the state government is for small venues to help them provide more opportunities for local artists. The grants are divided into 2 funds. The Live Music Business Grants, which help venues expand their stage and upgrade equipment, while the Growing Gigs Fund supports live music venues to offset performance fees and book more Queensland artists. One recipient of this grant in the last round was Woolloongabba's The Cave Inn. They used their funding to provide a platform for diverse, emerging and established musicians. This round of applications opened on the 28th of March and will continue until May the 6th. With all the wet weather we've been having, termites are on the move, and often without professional detection, you may not even know they're there until it's too late. But you don't need to worry about that too much because the sponsor of this video, EPM Pest Control, is offering viewers of the Brisbane Channel a free termite risk assessment. They'll come out and assess your property to make sure you're aware of any potential risks to your property from termites. And if you need any of their services, they'll give you 10% off as a channel viewer. Just click this QR code or the link in the video description to book your free property assessment. Now let's get to the LGA specific updates, starting with Brisbane City, and this week there's some big ones. Firstly, Brisbane City Council have announced that they'll be targeting illegally and dangerously parked vehicles in a new initiative. Signage and enforcement cameras will be installed at locations where residents have complained about illegally parked vehicles, as well as where inappropriately parked vehicles cause safety and congestion issues. In 2024, Brisbane City Council received almost 52,000 complaints about illegal parking. The main focus of this initiative will be on motorists illegally stopping in clearways, no stopping zones, bus zones, loading zones, and where there are yellow lines. A recent trial was held in these locations, and starting this month, the cameras will now be rolled out to another 16 locations. To something more controversial, and Brisbane City Council has denied 3 development applications for installation of community batteries. The federal government's program to fund $171 million worth of batteries to store excess solar energy aims to lower electricity bills, reduce pressure on the electricity grid, and to absorb excess energy that may cause voltage spikes on the grid. But applications to install the batteries were rejected for an old Scouts Hall in Nunda, a substation in Newmarket, and on Woodbine Street in the Gap. The reason given for the application's rejection of installation of the batteries, which are slightly larger than a household refrigerator, was a loss of green space. Energy Queensland won grants for the batteries in 12 communities, and 2 have been approved for installation in Moorooka and Coorparoo. Another update that you may not have heard about is a plan proposed by a handful of Queensland city councils, including Brisbane City Council, to tax tourists through a charge applied to hotel, motel, and possibly Airbnb bookings to raise revenue that would be passed on to councils to fund construction of tourism-related infrastructure without placing the burden on ratepayers. The proposal was flatly rejected by the state government, but MP Amanda Cam pointed out that the Local Government Act empowers city councils to introduce levies themselves, so there was no need for a statewide bed tax. ABC News quotes Griffith University tourism researcher Daniel Gschrind, who said that such taxes had been shown to have negligible impact on demand or desire of people to travel to the areas where they're implemented, but state governments are typically reluctant to take the blame for new taxes or levies. A positive update now, and Brisbane City Council has awarded almost $65,000 to 18 wildlife carers in this year's round of Native Wildlife Carers grants. Individual grants ranging from $500 to $5,000 have gone to a range of organisations and individuals to help cover everything from vet expenses to travel costs incurred when rescuing, transferring or releasing native wildlife, as well as costs of items like care blankets and nesting boxes. You may remember something on this channel about a challenge to the development of a block of affordable units on the grounds of a church in Walkerley. Well, this week the state government approved the development. It'll deliver new affordable units as part of a build-to-rent scheme managed by a registered community housing provider. The City Council is seeking community feedback on their plans to develop the Wynnum, Lota and Manly foreshore. The master plan aims to build on previous work along the foreshore and will complement an upcoming upgrade to the playground near the Wynnum wading pool. Residents can share their views at a kiosk that will be set up in Wynnum Wading Pool Park from 2 to 4 p.m. on Wednesday, April 9. There were others, but this is the only one that will be open after this video goes live. The final update for the Brisbane LGA is that the state government has opened a new youth remand centre in Wacol. The 76-bed facility boasts state-of-the-art security management systems, as well as access to education and vocational training, rehabilitation programs, healthcare, and support services. A benefit of such a facility is that it can help reduce the number of young offenders being held for long periods of time in watch houses. While the education and rehabilitation facilities do sound positive, what is important, according to advocates working in the space, will be that youths actually have adequate access to these programs. The topic of youth crime is a massive and extremely complex one. It's one that I'm currently working on tackling here on the channel, but it's going to take a lot of work to give all sides of the issue a balanced investigation, so I don't expect to have that video out until near the end of the year. But I'm expecting it to be a very intense exploration of the topic. Now to Ipswich, where design for a major upgrade of North Ipswich Reserve was unveiled. Stage 1 will include demolition of the existing grandstand and construction of a new western grandstand of 2,000 seat capacity, including male and female dressing rooms with toilets and showers for home and away teams, upgraded public amenities and public spaces, a media room and function room for at least 130 guests. Future stages will include a northern grandstand, improvements to the eastern and southern embankments, improvements to Len Johnson Oval, and better access to the city. If you find any of these updates interesting or helpful, you can say thanks by buying me a coffee, or you can support the channel by becoming a member, which also brings extra benefits to you. Thanks to these members for their continued support. Now over to Redlands, and local residents have expressed concern over the lack of adequate transport to and from the Redland Water Centre, which is set to host whitewater events such as the canoe slalom during the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. Geeka's 100-day review did acknowledge that overall connectivity to the centre is poor, as it is currently only accessible by private transport. Both Redland City Council and the State MP for Redlands, Rebecca Young, insist that adequate public transport options will be provided. Of course, we'll be keeping track of how things develop over time here on the Brisbane Channel. Up in Moreton Bay, 3 local community and sporting clubs have been given peppercorn leases of $1 per year to help them expand their facilities and operations. A 10-year lease was given to Multicap Limited, who provide support for people with disabilities in Moreton Bay, and 5-year leases given to North Lakes United Football Club and North Lakes District Rugby League Football Club. In Brisbane's academic world, researchers at the University of Queensland, working with a broader team from a handful of other universities, have potentially found a way to delay the onset of type 1 diabetes, and even someday preventing it entirely. They found that giving an oral therapy containing short-chain fatty acids changed the gut microbiome and gut barrier function that they think may alter the immune response in people with the disease. When the microbiome was transferred to mice, it delayed the onset of diabetes. Coming up on the channel, I may be revealing a world first that has the potential to be part of Brisbane becoming a world leader in something quite meaningful. I'm also excited to share that next week's update video will also have a giveaway, tickets to a preview film screening. Always good to have the chance to see a movie before it's officially released. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. I don't care if there's anything wrong with that. I'm not doing it again.